Saratel Mustaqim. Saratel Latina and Talayhim, Gaga Maduli Alayhim, Walla Darling. I'm not one to speak in front of people. I know I was a teacher, but those are little people, you know. But I'm going to do my best, inshallah. And please ask questions. That's where I like to do how I like to do a presentation rather than just me talking. Brother Imam asked us to relay to you our experience on going to Umrah. I went to Umrah in October, from October 15th to the 25th, and Sister Joanne went in December. So, and in talking to her on the phone, I noticed that the actual performance of Umrah was the same, but our experience outside of that were different. So I'm going to give what my experience was, and she's going to give hers. I went with a group out of Philadelphia with Brother Ghani. There was a group of actually 100 people. So it was quite a large group. We left out of Philadelphia 5:30 in the morning by bus going to JFK on the 15th. We went from JFK to Doha, Qatar. The flight was 12 hours. Then from Doha, we went into Medina, which was another 2 hours. We got there, we left New York on a Tuesday. We got into Mecca on a Wednesday because of the time difference. That first day there, we just relaxed because it was a long trip and everybody was tired. On Thursday, we went to a camel farm and we went to the Prophet's Mosque. And all the tours were due in the morning, so we would get back to the hotel for prayer, for Zuhr prayer. That night, we went to the Prophet's Mosque to pray, which is called Rada, and they only give you have to have a ticket to get in, and they give you 15 minutes to make your prayer in the Prophet's Mosque. Even though it was during Umrah, there was lots of people. I went to Hajj in 1998. There was more people at Umrah than there was in Hajj in 1998. Wow. You go to the Prophet's Mosque, it's crowded. They usher you in, you pray, they usher you out. There's just so many people. Friday was Jummah. We had Jummah in the Prophet's Mosque. That evening we had a seminar to go over how to perform Umrah. They gave the brothers their garments, whatever they needed. They gave the sisters rugs. Saturday we went to Mount Uda, where the Prophet told the soldiers to stay, and some of them left because they wanted to get the booty. Some of the believers, a lot of them went up on the mountain, and I have pictures that I can share. I did not go. Sunday, we went to Medina. We took the bus from Medina to Jeddah, and then we took the train into Mecca. We performed Umrah at 10:30 at night. It was crowded. We did the tawaf, which you do 7 circles around the Kaaba. Allah blessed me, I was able to touch the Kaaba. It felt amazing. It felt amazing. After we did the Sa'i from Safa to Marwa 7 times back and forth. That was challenging. It was real challenging because there's a lot of people. They're pushing, they're shoving, they're getting in front of you. It was hot. They do have stations that you can drink from, though, the Zamzam water. We started at 10:30. We finished at 2:30 in the morning. Monday was a free day. Then on Tuesday, we took a tour of Mecca. We went to Arafat. We took it was a bus tour. So some of the people got off and went up to Arafat. That's not part of Umrah. We just visited there, because that's part of Hajj, to go to Arafat and pray. We saw the cave where the Prophet, may Allah be pleased with him, hid when they were looking for him. We saw Tent City, which is, you wouldn't believe, it's a city with tents and tents and tents and tents for Hajis when they come to make Hajj. That was then at the group we had, the tour guide, they gave us a farewell dinner, and we came back to the U.S. on the 24th. We left at the 24th. We got back into JFK that Friday. We took the bus back to Philly, and that was my experience. So if you have any questions, I know you probably have questions. And like I said, when you ask me questions, I can elaborate a little more, rather. So are there any questions? Yes, sir.
I'm kind of curious, like, if you traveling, was there anybody that you traveled that you knew before you?
As a matter of fact, I traveled with Sister Fatima. Fatia. She used to be here in the masjid. Yeah, she used to be here in the masjid. So that's how I went to Philly. I had gone to Philly the day before, and then we left the next morning going from Philly to JFK. When I got back, let me just say this. When we was in Medina, it was different than being in Mecca. In Medina, to me, it was more, I want to say, less hectic and more spiritual, seemed like, to me. Even though Mecca is supposed to be the holiest spot in Islam, because of the crowds and people trying to do what they're supposed to be doing, I did not get the feeling, that spiritual feeling that I got in Medina. Are there any other questions?
You want to ask questions individually, or you want to wait till both of you all do your story, and then ask, we can ask both of you?
Okay, you can
individually.
go ahead. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Joanne, I want to first say that this journey for me was solely about Allah and the worship. I had made my intentions about a year before that, and I started preparing myself mentally because it takes a lot of patience, sabr, to do Umrah. I went with Imam Suleiman and Sister Shahida out of Atlanta, and they have patience like you wouldn't believe. So I learned a lot from them as far as patience as well. We left on December the 25th from JFK. We went into Cairo, and then we got a connecting plane to Medina. Before we left, we made our appointments for the Rada to go into the Prophet's Mosque. You had to make appointments. And, you know, some made appointments and some didn't. And like the sister was saying, it was massive amount of people there. It was a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving, and a lot of waiting. You had to be patient. Because I was on my scooter, I had to be very patient because then you're separated from your group, from your walkers, you're separated. If you're in a wheelchair or whatever, you are separated. That was before we even left, we made those appointments. When we arrived in Medina, that was a Thursday, like you said, that was our rest day. And we went to the Prophet's Mosque. And that's a sanctuary where they say you have many benefits, at least the presence of Prophet Muhammad is there, prayers and peace be upon him. We were encouraged to increase our prayers and salats upon the Prophet. It is said that salats in the masjid is superior to 1,000 salats offered in the masjid, except the masjid at the Haram in Mecca. The next day we went to Jumar. And going to Jumar, you had to be there at least 2 hours to 2.5 hours before Jumar, or you would not get inside the mosque itself. But they had huge spaces around the mosque for you to pray on the outside. I sometimes rather be on the outside, but they had big grasshoppers. And those who know me, they had grasshoppers. I thought they were butterflies at first. Till one landed on me, and I'm like, that is not a butterfly. That's a grasshopper. Jumar was in Arabic only. Brother Imam Suleiman broke it down for us and had it, gave us a brief summary on what was spoken, which was revelation and the process of revelation. Then the next day, after the Prophet's Mosque, you were allowed to go over there. Some sisters stayed the night at the Prophet's Mosque. We were at, the hotel was about, we were right across from the main door of the mosque. So you could go over there anytime. A lot of us did stay overnight, and the next day we did have a trip to the date farm where they had different dates, some that had reference to the Prophet Muhammad. I brought some back for you guys. Anyway, not today, but for Ramadan. So, and we did, before we got, the Imam asked anyone that they wanted to do coping before, because some people like to, you know, it has nothing to do with Umrah. It has no relationship to it, but you could get benefits from the coping. Some did, some didn't. We did have a host dinner in Medina, and the brothers prepared themselves for Umrah. The sisters did not have to have on any certain colors for Umrah, but the brothers had to get in their garb. We did the bus where we stopped at Masjid. I believe we stopped at the Masjid, made our intentions. Yes, we stated our intentions at the niyat, our intentions at the masjid on our way to Mecca. So when we arrived in Mecca, we arrived there about 5:30 in the afternoon. They did the first Umrah at 2:30 that morning. He watched the crowd, because it's on the TV in your hotel room. You can actually see what's going on as it plays out. So they decided to go at 2:30. But it's like 4 or 5 of us, he said he would take us the next morning at 8. And that was good because I had a good night's sleep. And we went, and we did perform our rituals the next morning. And the brothers within our community did the pushing, like the imam and 3 other brothers. He told us at the beginning, no one will be paying for someone to push them when we have able-bodied, we have brothers here. And plus, you get blessings for that. So everybody wanted to push, We didn't have a problem with brothers, helping those who needed wheelchairs. And for those who want to go over there, door 90 is the door to go in. You had to fill some things out, but it was very rewarding. To go inside the Kaaba is a very emotional time, Like she said, it was very crowded. I would just go in. We stayed at the clock tower, which is directly in front of the harem. So all we would have to do was go right out and right inside. And then once they told me which way I can go in with my scooter, door 90, I didn't have to wait for anybody, So, and they had sister sections and, sections that you can sit and look right at the Kaaba while you're making your du'as and your prayers and everything. Then the next day, we went to a community dinner in the park. After we performed Umrah, then we rest a little bit, and then we had a community dinner in the park. They had ATVs for those who were, you had a lot of young ones in the group, so. And then you had other different activities you could do, the sisters, Hannah or whatever you wanted to do. The meal was delicious. It was like delicious. The brother, Sheikh, I think it's Kasser. I don't want to mispronounce his name, but he did the honor of hosting the dinner. And he also had this honey, and I bought some too. But this honey was supposed to be to help with antibiotics and things that's not found in raw honey that we have here. So that was another thing that we did. We also went, we also completed the Qur'an while we were there, our group. So each person had a juice. So we completed the Qur'an while we were there. Also, we collected enough money from our group to feed, I don't want to get the number wrong, I believe it was 450 meals that we put out. We took the meals around from the hotel, and it goes from like this brightness to dark. And a lot of people that's, like you said, that are no legs or just, they're there, they have no food, and we did give out food and water to everyone. It took us about 15 minutes and we were completely out. It didn't take long. Then we went to the mountains. We went to the cave, Hijra, the